Welcome back to the channel, you guys. Welcome back to the boat gang. Got our handmade, hand-laid carbon fiber RC boat. This boat's basically been a year in the making. I made a wood boat, made a plug, pulled a mold, pulled a hull. Now we have a boat that floats. It has no water leaks. I've actually blueprinted the bottom of the boat. Basically got it ready to go, ready to hit the water. Okay, there's some like surface imperfections that I'm going to work out once we get the boat outfitted. We're going to be installing a SSS 3000 kV 2960 Turnigy Marine 70 micro servo power HD. Blackjack 24 stock rotor that I've modified to kick back. 0.150 cable with a 3/16 Speedmaster bushing, step down to an 1/8 prop shaft. Okay, homemade motor mount and servo mount that I cut out of a panel that I laid up last night. 1.5 millimeters thick, and yeah. So let's get it. Let's freaking get it. We're gonna finish up the Imperial Destroyer. Stick around. Big B with Ironclad RC. In my last video, when we joined the top side and the bottom side of the boat, a few of my subscribers said it looks like a freaking Star Wars ship. I looked it up. Sure enough, it does. It favors a freaking Imperial Destroyer. So we may go Star Wars theme on this little sucker. Okay. So what I'm kind of planning on doing here is running the boat on 3, 4, and 6S. Okay, we're gonna get a basic setup real quick on it. Let me get my foam mat out so we can prop the boat up and use some sticky putty to temporarily mount up the hardware. So the motor mount I actually made it large enough so I can actually accommodate a 36 millimeter motor later on if I wanted to, you know. So I have two different bolt patterns here. I drilled some epoxy dams on the bottom, and it should sit right in the keel, just like that. Okay, probably gonna mount my motor somewhere in there. We're really having to work around my cable length because I'm really not investing any money in this boat. I'm just using everything I have laying around. I got a bunch of extra, you know, hardware and stuff that I need to use up, so I'm trying to use it. Okay. So we're going to be using the Speedmaster bushing. The cool thing about the Speedmaster bushing is it basically just kind of rides in your stuffing tube, okay? And it'll actually spin with the shaft, okay? With this 1/8 prop shaft and the drive dog I'm using, it's like a nice hydrodynamic design, okay? My stuffing tube's basically going to exit the boat like that. That's it. Okay, that bushing should keep it straight where the shaft is, and we'll be able to put minute bends right here at the through hole for fine-tuning the boat. Okay, we're gonna mount the rudder like right in there. That's some sticky putty I used to set up my transom, so it's going to be set up something like that. Our ESC and batteries. Our batteries are going to be on the left-hand side of the boat. Okay, I'm gonna run. More than likely run it on 3 and 4S. We'll occasionally throw 6S on it if it handles 6S. Okay, so my batteries are going to be there. Our ESC is going to be mounted close to center, somewhere in here. Okay, and then our servo will be mounted right there. Okay, servo is basically going to be lined up with the rudder here, somewhere in that neighborhood. This is a mono hull, so I'm thinking 1/3 of the boat should be good. Okay, so that's with the batteries back. If I slide my batteries forward, this boat's only 19 inches long, but it's 10.5 inches wide, so I have a lot of room in this little boat. So if I slide my batteries forward, I can just about get my CG almost half the boat, you know, in those high power applications, you know, situations type deal. Oh man, I'm going insane, boy, and I think I'm going to drag you guys down that road with me, son. Oh boy. Okay. So I changed up my whole setup. All right. Okay. I was gonna do the stuffing tube with the Speedmaster bushing, but I decided to go with my gut. I'm going with this 110 millimeter long stinger. I'm not cutting it down. I'm really interested to see what the length does with this boat. It's driving me freaking nuts, and I'm not going to get any rest until I try it. And I didn't cut out the previous segments of the video. Well, actually I did trim it up quite a bit, but I wanted to show you guys that not your first actual setup on a boat is your final setup. You have to play around with it and tinker and check CG and move stuff around, and you know, until you get it the way you think you want it. Okay, so I'm using the longer stinger here. All right, so I'm using the same cable. I have another cable with a 3/16 shaft that I'll probably end up using, but we're gonna mount the motor a little bit farther back than what we had it previous. Okay, because the stinger's a little bit longer, dragging the motor back with it. Ideally, I would like to mount the motor up here and centralize the batteries in the keel with the ESC, but this is going to work better, I believe. So we got a centrally located motor, centrally located ESC right in the keel of the boat. Okay, keeping my CG centralized. I'll also, instead of mounting my servo the opposite way, like we had it, like mounted right here, I'm going to mount it low in the boat. Okay, in line with the rudder right there. Okay, that's going to keep my center of gravity centralized. And my batteries, I'm gonna mount my batteries. I'm gonna have a Velcro right here and a Velcro right here. I can move my batteries basically from here to here. I have that much tunability on my batteries on this side from here to here. Okay, that's gonna unlock a lot of tuning for me. All right, I can always move that stuff around later on, but my motor's gonna be centralized in the boat. My CG is exactly the same with my batteries mounted right here. It's exactly the same. Okay, it's like right there. When I move my batteries back here, my center of gravity comes to here. When I move them all the way forward, my center of gravity is like right there. So I'll basically be able to get my CG from here to here, in that neighborhood right there. Okay, a third the boat basically. Okay, final freaking answer. All right, and the reason I'm actually going this route opposed to my batteries mounted over here and my ESC over here is like weight, side to side weight. Okay, she's actually balanced. Okay, it don't have too much weight on the left, it don't have too much weight on the right. She's centrally balanced, so whenever she's up flying in the water, she's not going to want to tip or tilt to one side or the other, because the way I have this boat designed, okay, I got my lifting strakes right here kind of angled down, so it diverts the water like down, lifting the boat up. Okay, same thing with my spray rails right here. They got some down angles, so when she's banking over in a turn, the water splashing off this flat part right here, hitting the spray rail, picking the boat, hopefully picking the boat up. Okay, I think she's going to be a little screamer, a little flyer. Okay, I can always cut this down later on. Cut it right here, put a new bushing in, cut it right here, put another bushing in type deal. The only thing I'm worried about with this setup is the rudder being so far forward of the propeller. A lot of times I've noticed when you have a propeller located way far back on the transom, you know, it tends to want to keep the boat going straight, or keep the boat, or wants to turn real good in a right and not so much in a left. So I've actually lowered my rudder on the transom so that she's in the water a little bit more. So which this boat's not going to bank over real hard in a turn, but when it does bank over, I have plenty of water, rudder in the water. Okay, so this is it. This is my final setup. Okay, done. Let's mount the motor. All right, I went over why I'm doing it, all my thoughts. Let's get it. Okay, so I got my motor mounted up. I used some 5-minute quick cure epoxy with a little bit of carbon fiber, basically just a little bit, so it's soupy, but it would kind of hold its position. So I'm just kind of looking at my motor mount, look at the keel of the boat here, okay, and then I'll look at my motor, look at the bow of the boat, look right here, look at the keel, the motor, the bow, make sure she's lined up. I'll flip my boat around, okay. Same thing here. Look down the keel of the boat. Okay, come up, look at my motor, make sure she's lined up. Looks like she needs to be turned a little bit here. Now correct it. I'll look down the keel, look down. Okay, make sure she's right. Alright, you only get one shot at this. Oh man, got a freaking mess, boys. So I was waiting on this motor mount epoxy to kick off, and I was like, well, maybe I need to go ahead and make sure my stuffing tube's gonna meet up to the angle I have on my motor. So I just kind of undid my cable, made sure my stuffing tube, I can get a bend in it, and it's going to kind of meet up, and that looks good. So that's good to go. While I was doing that, I went ahead and drilled the holes out for the rudder and the stinger. I just took some of that sticky putty right there, basically stuck it on my stinger, took a pick tool and marked out the holes. I drilled a pilot hole first, and then I drilled the permanent, you know, the correct sized hole. You know, drilled a pilot hole, made sure everything was lined up, and then finalized it. Okay, so now I've got my linkage. I got a rod on my linkage, and I'm just kind of lining that up with my servo. So I've actually found a little issue in my plan. I was wanting to mount my servo centralized, mounting in the boat like this to keep the weight centralized, but I wasn't planning on doing that, and my servo mount's not quite tall enough because we would be mounting it down lower in the boat, and it just wouldn't work out. So I guess I'm gonna go with my original plan, but I'm actually gonna keep it as low in the boat as I can get away with. Okay, so I'm just lining up the servo mount with the rudder bracket. Make sure this steering rod is going to line up with this easy connector right here. Okay, once I figure out the best place, I'm going to take a permanent marker, mark it out, okay, and then we'll 5-minute epoxy it, tack it in place. I'll pull the servo out, okay, and use a laminating resin, a 24-hour laminating resin with carbon fiber on the motor mount and the servo mount. Basically build it into the boat. Okay. Okay, so it's the next day. Last night I went ahead and did my second coat of epoxy, the 24-hour, and it had time to cure out, and it's stout. Okay, that's really what I was worried about, because I didn't have any supports on my motor mount, so I was just relying on the carbon fiber epoxy to hold it in place, and that's good. I got my head screws here. We're going to blue Loctite those, get the motor mounted back up so we can get our stuffing tube lined up, bent, and epoxied into the boat, cut it to size, install the stinger. Okay, and while we're working on all that, we're going to go ahead and put our second application of epoxy on this guy here. It's a little flimsy. That's a servo. It's moving back and forth, and we need to figure out where the steering linkage is. Okay. Okay, so I got my stuffing tube in. I got everything cut to length. I've got my flex cable in the coupler, and I've got some 30-minute epoxy on there. Okay, my boat's propped up so that epoxy kind of runs down into all the little voids. Yeah, this is why I hadn't been talking through my videos right here. My little man's helping me out. He's a mess, but I can't really talk you guys through my boat when he's in here. So, if you guys are wondering why I'm not talking you guys through the build, that's the reason why right there. My little man, babysitting. So I got her lined up on the keel here. I got the, nope, don't mess with the video stand. Okay, so what I like to do to get my nuts in the transom in tight places, I use this flex driver and to get it started, and then I'll finish it up with this guy right here. Okay, so I'll actually put my nut in my flex driver. I actually got a little bit of adhesive on there to kind of hold it in place, and then I put some adhesive on the nut itself, and then I'll put my washer on, and that adhesive will actually hold my washer on, so I could do it all in one shot. Okay, I'm gonna fast forward through it. Alright, that looks cool, man. That really does. It looks cool as heck. I got it sealed up. I went ahead and drilled a little pilot hole right there for my capillary tube and wire. That's what I'm using for my steering linkage. Gonna use a bellow. I don't have any through holes, so I'm gonna make one. Basically just use a copper tube. Okay, 1/2-inch copper tube. We're gonna epoxy in the boat right there. Boom, done. Okay, so whenever I drill the corresponding hole for my through hole here, I need to actually drill it closer to the rudder bracket, because I don't know if you guys can see it, but I have a little bow in my steering linkage. That's unnecessary friction. I'm using a micro servo on this boat, so I definitely need to get the best steering geometry as I can. So it's basically what it's going to look like. I'm going to use that little wire right there for that arc, you know. D-U-N, done. Okay. The Imperial Pocket Rocket. That's what I'm going to deem this boat. The Imperial Pocket Rocket. Alright? Yeah, man. I just finished it up. It's late. I'm ready to put this thing on the freaking water. I'm going to walk you guys through it, man. So that's the finished product. Okay? This is what we started off with. Alright? Oh, I'm so freaking proud of myself. So, like I said, I didn't get a chance to walk you guys through the whole build process. I had my son, and I just got this new shelf. I've been doing some rearranging in my in-house shop. Okay, got all that arranged with my new shelf. Trying to get all my boats squared away. Put this shelf in here, and yeah, you guys. So 10,000. We just hit 10,000 subscribers. Insane, you guys. Thank you to all my subscribers. So let me walk you around the boat. Okay, you know, I've been kind of modest about the way this boat performed. You know, it used to run really good. It almost runs like nothing you ever seen. I just weighed it up. It weighs exactly 900 grams. 900 grams, boy. Fully loaded with 4S battery. Okay, so we got the 110 millimeter stinger here. Okay, we're going to start off with a neutral stinger position. Going to start with this oxidean 3014 3-blade. Okay, I got my steering linkage all hooked up. All right, I went with a 1/4-inch copper through hole for this bellow, and then I just put my bellow over the 1/4-inch through hole tube. Done. Okay, use the capillary tube right here with a wire. All right, that wire should give us a little flex in a full right hand throw, and when the rudder kicks up, it should give us a little flex, a little give. Okay, I got everything sealed up with Loctite marine adhesive. My water coolant's run in the boat. I used this grommet. I normally don't use grommets. I over drilled the size of the hole, so I decided to use that grommet. It looks good. To the ESC, I got the ESC velcroed in, around the ESC into the motor right here, around the motor and out the boat right here. Okay, we should get a little stream of water shooting out so we can see our coolant. Okay, I almost messed up putting that coolant exit in, man. This boat, the way it's designed, where the spray rail and the top side is, it's real thin right there. And I don't know if you guys can see it, but I actually had to cut 5 or 6 millimeters off that nipple and reprofile the nipple so I can get my coolant line in, and so it wasn't kinked. So hopefully our coolant is going to be ironclad. Okay, I am using this coolant coil because I don't have a 29 millimeter water jacket. It worked in my ironclad outrigger, which is what I donated the electronics from. We'll get some more electronics for that boat here shortly. Gonna run it on 4S. I got the batteries hooked up. We'll spool it up, and I'll let you guys see the rudder moving, all that good stuff. I got my my stuffing tube mount in the boat. It's not really a retainer, it's just like a mount, just to kind of keep the stuffing tube from whapping all over the place. I didn't even epoxy the stuffing tube to the mount, just got it kind of holding it in place. Okay, got a coupler there with the 0.150 cable, 3/16 8 shaft. I also cut a 3/16 shaft so we can run 3/16 props on the boat if we need to. Okay, like I said, I'm really excited about this boat. Oh yeah, the antenna. This is a Pro Boat through hole antenna that I used for this one. I just velcroed, actually velcroed my receiver on the underside of the top side there. Okay, drilled a hole, boom, done. Okay, so let's spool it up. Let's spool it up, make sure nothing's in the way here. Oh yeah, this is a carbon fiber hull, so you have to have an antenna sticking out. I almost forgot to do that. I put the hatch on, and I was like, what the hell? It's not working. I was like, oh yeah, carbon fiber hull. I had to freaking drill the freaking through hole. Alright, so, this is just my second time bench testing it. Once we run a couple packs through it, it'll like work itself in, and she should purr like a freaking kitten. We got that Teflon liner in there and stuff, which I don't really like Teflon liners, but I put it in this boat because it's easy. It was easier with the stinger and everything to use this Teflon liner. So okay, all right, so I actually gave myself more left rudder than right rudder. Okay, a little bit more left rudder than right rudder. This stinger's hanging way off the transom back here. A lot of times if you have a transom, a propeller that's mounted way off the transom, it wants to make a real nice right turn, and the left turns are kind of like, you know, not that great. So I gave myself a little bit more left than right. Hopefully she turns left and right good. I'm excited to put it in the water, man. This thing should float, boy. I put a lot of design. You know, this boat, it was 5 years old. It was actually my second boat I ever built, and I actually put a lot of design into the bottom of this boat. My strakes are like pointed down. Okay, they're actually like angled down, so it's going to lift the boat in a straight, and in a turn I've got them angled down, so when she's turning, banking in a turn, which is not going to bank that hard, this spray is actually going to lift this one and this one. It's actually going to lift this boat up in a turn. You guys, your jaws are probably going to freaking drop. My jaws going to freaking drop when I run this boat, because I've only run it on brush power. So I'm gonna let you guys go. Hopefully you guys like the build. The Imperial Pocket Rocket, boy, that looks dope, right? That is freaking boss. I like that long stinger sticking off the back. Okay, so I wanted to throw this in there. Okay, don't forget flotation. I actually cut some custom pieces of flotation to fit up here, basically all one piece, and it's like conformed to the shape of my boat. I also have these pieces right here, basically from here to here, cut at like a triangle, and I got a piece all the way down both sides here. Okay, you can't really see it, but I got it in there, my flotation. Okay, I wanted to throw this in. You know, we got the servo and rudder on the right hand side of the boat. Okay, so that's adding weight to this side. So what I did is I offset my ESC on the left side, and now I'm gonna grab the boat at the bow. I got the boat grabbed on the stinger, and she's perfectly balanced. You see that? She don't want to tip left or right. She's perfectly balanced. Okay, so when she's running with the small props I'm gonna put on it, she ain't gonna want to torque roll with the small props. And when she comes up out the water, okay, she's not gonna want to tip to the left or the right. I got her perfectly balanced. All right, with my batteries right there, 1/3 the boat, baby. All right, I wanted to throw that in here. Yeah. Thanks for the 10,000 subscribers. You guys have been great. We'll see you guys next time. Big B, we're Ironclad RC.